Unlike satellite, you can count on Charter during a storm. So let it all in, rain or shine.
Imagine waking up with 20/20 vision. LASIK could make that happen. And right now at LASIK Plus, you could save $500 on the procedure. LASIK Plus could eliminate the hassle of annoying glasses and dried out contacts by treating your astigmatism, nearsightedness, or farsightedness. So get your treatment with the most recommended LASIK provider and save $500. Imagine your life in focus. LASIK Plus. Call, click, or come in now and save $500, but only till the end of the year. Offer not valid in California.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women have certain unalienable rights. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and the freedom to believe that our best days are still ahead.
We can call North Carolina. Again, no surprise there, as Senator Richard Burr, the Republican, retains that seat in North Carolina over the Secretary of State, Elaine Marshall. And the actual hard count, a 55-44 split with more than one-third of that vote in. North Carolina, Senator Burr to be Senator-elect Burr. So, again, at this hour, the Senate representing one pickup again in Indiana, where Evan Bayh, who should be getting $10 every time we mention him, or maybe he did already, but $10 more every time we mention him, has retired from that seat. And Mr. Coates has been elected tonight, or we believe so, according to our NBC News projections. We have new information from our exit polling. Lester Holt with the voice of the voter. And Lester, the topic is more or less government. I think I know the answers to this, but we'll defer to you on them.
Yeah, Keith, as we look through these numbers, one of the themes emerging tonight really is this whole role of government in all our lives, an issue that certainly has helped drive the Tea Party movement. We've been asking about this in our NBC News exit poll for years. And take a look at this. I want to go back to 1994, when a big Republican wave switched the House from Democratic to Republican. Back then, 56% said the government was doing too much. Take a look at today, same percentage, same number. But I want you to contrast that to 2008, when the wheels on the bus were falling off, the financial meltdown was happening. President Obama had just been elected. Back then, people kind of liked the idea of a little more government. 43% back then said the government was doing too much. Who is most worried about too much government? Well, the Tea Party supporters, people who put immigration at the top of their list of concerns, those who are very worried about the economy, and white voters without a college degree. In the debate over how far government should go to help solve problems, the pendulum appears to be swinging back toward less tonight, Keith.
The pendulum swings indeed. Lester Holt, voice of the voters, the exit polling. Thank you kindly. What does it mean, Chris?
Well, I think the perception of, as I said early tonight, I think that Bush did the bailout. Bush was president when we had the worst economic crisis since the 30s. Bush was president when the whole economic slide clearly began. And then Obama came in and used Keynesian economics to try to compensate for the drop in consumption, the drop in business investment with the larger federal expenditure, which is about, it added to the deficit. And so he was blamed for, quote, the growth of government. Then he made good on the commitment for health care that had been made by every president, including Nixon and Teddy Roosevelt going back forever, and he was blamed for that. I just think it's the American people respond to symptoms, not to diagnosis. They respond to symptoms. When the economy's bad, they get, I'm mad. Now I got somebody tell me who to be mad at. That's the second step. And now it is that there's one guy in charge. It's a Democrat who's a liberal, a relatively progressive Democrat. So you blame him. That's the easy part. That explains almost all of what happened tonight. Who's in? And what's going on. Okay, the third thing they look for is a little more sophisticated argument. So the Republicans said it's all spending. Spending. Well, that's the problem. Now, do we want the federal government to deal with the mess that was created by private industry down in the Gulf? Do we want the federal government to show up when there's a tremendous flood? Yes. Do we want the federal government to protect our airline safety? Do we want the federal government to protect our food safety? Anything that affects me personally, we want some helping hand. We want the government to help us, not just during crisis, but most of our lives. Then there's a general notion that got started. I think Santelli. What was that guy's name?
Rick Santelli.
Okay, what was the beginning of the Tea Party notion? It was that we are somehow bailing out people that shouldn't have bought homes. That somehow we're giving them rent subsidies. We're not.
Yeah.
People are being kicked out of their homes. But somehow there was the notion that the worker bees We're being screwed to help out the non-worker bees.
He was standing on the floor of a stock exchange pointing at people making six figures saying, these are the real Americans back here. The people who work at investment houses.
That meant less government because people thought of government as somebody who's shifting their wealth to the people that are lazy. And that's how he started Centella. He really started this idea, and it plays into every kind of class and ethnic aspect of the country.
It is kind of the metaphor for this, or the symbol of it was that a possibly apocryphal phrase, get your damn government hands off my Medicaid. Yeah. That is, I want the government, or Medicare, the government is there when I want it, and I want it to not charge me.
You mean Medicare's a federal program?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't fall from the sky with the rain.
Don't know how to, and not only that, but do something about jobs. Do something about this economy. Do something.
But that's another point.
Less government.
That's concomitant with what Chris said, because the moment Lehman Brothers wobbled, that did not suddenly increase unemployment to 9.5%. Just as there was supposedly trickle down, there's also trickle down in bad news. And whoever the guy is there, when the bottom is hit, is the one whose fault it is.
The government's supposed to reduce the unemployment rate. Yeah. Well, how's it supposed to do it? Yeah. It either spends more money, does something with the tax structure, does something, but it has to do something. So when people say less government, do they really want laissez-faire? Do they really mean get out of my face and let me be unemployed?
Exactly.
No, they say, where's my frickin' job?
Yeah. But you look at I mean, the cause of the economic crisis that we're in is the financial crisis that we went through because of the collapse of the banking sector, right? So how does the electorate respond to that? By electing John Kasich of Lehman Brothers to be the governor of Ohio.
We've got to interrupt you. Connecticut is in. The Attorney General of Connecticut, Dick Blumenthal, the Democrat, is our NBC News projected winner for the Senate from Connecticut in again, you're talking about a lot of money going into that. That was against the wrestling promoter Linda McMahon in a campaign that everyone in the metropolitan New York area knew how much money was spent on it, because every commercial break, including on the non-commercial stations, they bought time on those. And the early number, less than 1 to 2%, it's 60-39, but our projection is Mr. Blumenthal will take that seat and retain it for the retiring Chris Dodd. In a moment, we'll have the first results from Arkansas. Senator Blanche Lincoln has trailed heavily in the polling to the Republican John Bozeman. MSNBC's midterm election coverage and more from Connecticut will continue after this.
No, was John Kasich more in
Introducing the 100% electric Nissan Leaf. Innovation for the planet. Innovation for all.
Our points from Chase Sapphire Preferred are worth 25% more on travel.
We're like, forget Florida. We're going on safari.
So we're on the Serengeti, and Seth finds a really big bone.
We're talking huge.
They dig it up, put it in a natural history museum, and we get to name it.
Sethosaurus.
Really? Your points from Chase Sapphire Preferred are worth 25% more on travel?
Means better vacations.
That's incredible.
Believe it. With Chase Sapphire Preferred, your points are worth 25% more on travel when booked through Ultimate Rewards.
Be the hero of family dinner with Boston Market's all-natural rotisserie chicken. Delicious sides, cornbread, and a free dessert. Just $5.99 per person. Your family feast is in the bag. Boston Market. Your table is waiting.
Lindsey Vonn, she stays tough. Earlier, she had an all-over achy cold. What's her advantage? It's Speedy Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer Plus. Rushes relief for all-over achy colds. The official cold medicine of the U.S. ski team. Alka-Seltzer.
This pan has created thousands of delicious meals. At L'École Culinaire, every student is given amazing tools, but their passion is the ingredient that allows the pan to create world-class cuisine. L'École's business ambition is to fuel students' dreams and help them succeed. Charter Media supports L'École's business ambitions with advertising to students on the shows they love Reach your business ambitions with Charter Media.
Imagine waking up with 20/20 vision. LASIK could make that happen. And right now at LASIK Plus, you could save $500 on the procedure. LASIK Plus could eliminate the hassle of annoying glasses and dried out contacts by treating your astigmatism, nearsightedness, or farsightedness. So get your treatment with the most recommended LASIK provider and save $500. Imagine your life in focus. LASIK Plus. Call, click, or come in now and save $500, but only till the end of the year. Offer not valid in California.
Not a lot of 8:30 p.m. poll closings, but the one that represented on your map stands out in gold. Arkansas, the site of essentially a morality play, I guess, for the state of Arkansas, the Democratic Party, the unions, everybody else. And as of this hour, NBC News can project the outcome of the Arkansas Senate race based on the early results that John Boozman, the Republican, will defeat the incumbent Senator Blanche Lincoln by a margin yet to be determined. So that's 2 Senate gains for the Republicans. Meanwhile, as we told you before the break, we were also projecting the Senate in Connecticut, where to replace the retiring Chris Dodd, the state Attorney General Richard Blumenthal has or will defeat Linda McMahon, his Republican opponent, in a hard-fought, I hate to use the term wrestling kind of match, but there it is. All right, so to this hour, Republicans with 2 gains in the Senate. The margin for them to take over would require more than that, to a total of 10, and that is still considered unlikely in the overall polling, although we have no new information to tell you that about that or to confirm that tonight. However, on the subject of Arkansas, Ed Schultz, the host of the Ed Schultz Show, the Ed Show, I always do that, here on MSNBC, joins us again from Las Vegas. And again, I use the term morality play for Blanche Lincoln in the old biblical sense of it, not in the moral versus immoral, but just tell this story from your perspective, Ed.
Well, welcome to primary hangover territory. The staunch effort by Bill Halter and the lefties to unseat Blanche Lincoln, I think, really hurt her campaign. She never really recovered. The winner tonight, John Boozman, this guy is a 5-term House member. He's an arm twister. He's a staunch conservative. He's an Arkansas good old boy, former football player. He's been the assistant whip since 2003. He helps Eric Cantor count the votes and get what they want out of the House. And he knows Washington. But he's very familiar in Arkansas. He's a staunch conservative. And when you look at Blanche Lincoln, she was too close to the corporations in the eyes of the Democrats. She was too close to Walmart. In fact, they called her the Senator Walmart. And she really never, got on track. Bill Clinton went down there and helped her out. Bill Clinton pretty much threw the Union folk under the bus. That, of course, infuriated a lot of people. I know President Clinton's done a lot of great things, but here's the former president from Arkansas can't help out a Democratic senator, which is a strange dynamic. But that's the way it played out in Arkansas. And had she had been going up against someone that maybe wasn't well known, she might have had a better chance. But Boozman had the money. He had the reputation. He's well placed in the House, and he will be a tough cookie for the Republicans and a real staunch conservative for them now in the Senate. So for Bill Halter, you can say that maybe if he hadn't have done the primary run, but this is a casualty for the Democrats, and it is one that they certainly expected tonight. And Keith, if I can just for 1 second go back to Indiana, sources are telling me tonight that people inside the Democratic caucus are not happy with Evan Bayh walking with $10 million. His political career is not over. He's going to run for governor. That's going to be coming up. And Harry Reid could have used that money. Joe Sestak could have used that money. And the term that's been put to me is Evan Bayh was kind of aloof. He was not one for really helping out a lot other senators in the Senate. And he leaves maybe with $10 million, but not a whole lot of real close friends, if you know what I mean.
Well, the human sacrifice portion of our coverage tonight, when we actually put him on the spit, will be a little bit later on. We've got a lot of, deserved or otherwise, a lot of coverage of Evan Bayh tonight. To forward this, in his victory speech, Mr. Coates intends to say, according to Politico, we have every reason in Indiana to be proud because with your help, we have done our part by turning a U.S. Senate seat from one that fundamentally enabled the Obama regime to one that firmly opposes it. So that new time of